All right, so let's set up this Max Line by RapidAir system on my Ingersoll T30 air compressor. So to provide a little bit of backstory, if you do not know, this T30 air compressor is many years old, probably 20 years old would be my guess or more. I bought it from a friend. It came out of a convenience store car wash, and they never changed the oil in it. I rebuilt it several years ago, and it's been sitting in the corner, powered up, but with no outlet on it. So it does have a 3/4 inch, or no airline outlet. It does have a 3/4 inch outlet on it. And so what I opted to do, since ultimately what I want to do is I want to run air to the other building. Plus another really good thing is it has an auto drain on it. So the auto drain is really nice because I know that there's no condensation in the tank. The tank's in perfectly fine shape. There's nothing to be worried about there. So I don't have any worry with a used compressor. Normally I would be pretty skeptical of a used compressor. But what we're going to do today is mostly I just want to get a very, very short airline segment. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to use this Max Line kit. We're going to come out, put a dryer on, and then from the dryer, we're probably going to go up the wall right here. I'll put a T in. We'll probably go all the way to the ceiling. I'll put a T in. I'll stub it out this way, cap it, and the T will wrap around this wall and probably come and stop right there at the corner and then come down the wall. I'm assuming that I can bend this tubing. And so come down the wall, and right here at the edge somewhere, I will put an outlet, and that way I can use it for air. The ultimate goal is I will get an air hose reel. I will mount somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where. In fact, I might bring it back up the wall a little bit. But we'll put an air hose reel in there. And at some point in the future, I just got a air hose reels. Good air hose reels are expensive. And I want to make sure that I like this layout before I go buying air hose reels. So what came in the kit? And I'll show you what else I got. So in this kit, it's right now it's $219. Probably in a week it's going to be $230. But anyway, right now it's $219. I got it at my local farm store. We've got 100 feet of the 3/4 inch tubing. And in this box, I'm assuming are all of my fittings. We will go through those very quickly. I'll just go ahead and do the unboxing on video. So we have our instructions. We have our deburr. I think that's what that is. We have 2 T's. Now, these T's are like 30 some odd dollars a piece. It is cheaper to buy this kit for what it is than it is to buy the individual components. I kind of explored that, at least for me. I would highly recommend sitting down and seeing how much each individual component is and what you need. I know I would need all the fittings included in this kit for the future, so I'm not overly concerned about the excess cost. This is my tubing cutter. Looks like I have some ends. Well, that's really interesting. I thought I only got one of these, which is not going to excite me. Oh no, these are half-inch ends. Okay, so yeah. Okay, I only got one 3/4 end. Some pipe clamps that'll hold the tube up, and then these should be my 3 ends, which they are. So these are the ends. The air tube will go right here. Look decently machined, a little bit of spare aluminum in there. So we'll see. So the reason I went with the 3/4 inch kit over the half-inch kit, the half-inch kit was about $40 cheaper, I believe. All of the 3/4 fittings are much more expensive than the half-inch fittings. But basically, tubing links up to 150 feet from the compressor. So if I want to go to my other building, I know I'm actually going to go a little over that 150 feet, but at the end of that 150 feet, there will be another air tank, so I'm not too concerned about it. Building size up to 4,000 square feet. That's basically what I've got between the two buildings. Multiple air users, what I don't have. Surface mounting tubing. Yes, that's what we need because we're not going to go through the walls. And then up to a 10 horsepower or a 50 CFM max flow. 200 PSI at 73, 160 PSI for ratings at 140 degrees. That's mostly, I wanted that, and I also wrote on the cold temperature because this is going to go underground between the two buildings, and it can be buried underground even though I'm going to run it through conduit. It came with 3/4 tubing, 100 feet of it, 3 outlets, 2 T's, 3/4 male straight, NPT straight, 20 mounting clip, deburring tube, and tubing cutter, which the 1/2 inch, now I know what the 1/2 inch that I was talking about are these. The only other extra things that I had to buy is I bought this 1 3/4 inch end, because what I will do is I will cap it with this brass cap, and that will be, it will be my cap running this way, because eventually I will extend that line. I'll drop a T at the closing lathe there, and then it'll go through that wall and out back and then keep carrying on. I also bought a pipe nipple to get this, our RapidAir 3/4 NPT filter regulator installed. I'm just, instead of mounting this to the wall, I'm just going to mount it onto this 4-inch nipple. I just don't think that I need anything greater than that. I am going to install a couple shutoffs in different places for this. I think the biggest drawback to this whole system is the fact that the fittings are decently expensive. I mean, this one end was 17 bucks. Each one of the T's is like $24 or $22, something like that. You'll have to look up the prices. So it's not necessarily the cheapest system, but it, you know, when you start talking about covering distances with pipe, particularly the distances I need to go between the two buildings, this will definitely make a little bit more sense. Particularly, you know, I only need another probably $100 and some odd dollars worth. I want to say another 100 feet of 3/4 line is like 117 bucks, or maybe it's only $99. I can't remember. But basically, getting this line between the two buildings is a whole lot cheaper than trying to buy sections of tubing or sections of metal pipe, things along those lines. So I think for the distance, this is the best bet. Never used it. They're not sponsoring this video. This is just a product I picked up because my local farm store had it, and it was the same price at the farm store as it was anywhere else online. And so I would rather support local businesses that employ local people versus ordering it off of Amazon or anywhere else. So I'm going to get busy installing this, and we're going to see what we end up with. All right, let's explore where we're at before we get into the meat and potatoes of the install. So what I've done is, this is the cap end, and I'm actually going to try this out first in terms of connecting the hosing, the tubing to the fittings. And I've gone ahead and hooked the dryer up to the compressor. I've got, so I used Teflon tape on this fitting and this fitting, and then I ran out of Teflon tape, and so now I'm using pipe dope, which should work just fine. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't. That's what was on this fitting right here. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna run the line up here, and wish this was a little bit flatter up against the wall. This is the power cord for the compressor. So basically we're gonna run it up and then come up. We'll probably come up a little farther over, maybe like right in here. We'll come up and we will tee it right up at the top. And then we'll have a short little section with that cap that I've already made, and the rest of it will go over to the corner. It'll kind of bend through the corner, go along the top, and then I'll probably just curve the tube down instead of using another T, because I don't have another 3/4 cap. And so we'll bring it down, and we will put it right about where my finger is at, right about there on the wall. So shouldn't use that much tubing, but I think the next thing is we'll make the cap and a little short section for the cap, and we'll get it installed, and then we'll just kind of measure a rough distance, and we'll go ahead and cut that tubing, and then I'll go ahead and put the T on it, and then I'll bring it over here and kind of fit it into position, see where I need to cut it, and we'll kind of go from there. So let me get to work on that. All right, so now that I think I quasi know what I'm doing, I can provide some feedback. This line is not nearly as flexible as I thought it was. Maybe that was my fault for not thinking it was, or for thinking it was more flexible. It's actually very stiff and very rigid. That is because it does have metal in it. Trouble I'm running into, and I'll show you the step here in just a second, is getting these fitting, kind of these cover nuts, I don't know what you call it, compression fitting nuts, over the end of the pipe without doing damage to the end of the pipe. And I'll show you that here in just a second. So what I'm going to do, I've got my T-fitting here. This T-fitting goes right here. And then I'm going to go ahead, before I proceed much farther, because it's work over my head, I'm going to go ahead and attach the pipe, or the tube, that goes around and down. And so how I'm going to do that is I've cut approximately 160 inch long piece of tubing. Is the approximate dimensions I need to get right there, give or take. And so what I'm going to do is on one end, I'm going to put that T fitting. And then as soon as I put that T-fitting on, I'm going to bring it over here. I'm just going to quasi-bend it. I can fix it all afterwards. And I'm going to put that T-fitting the rest of the way in there. And then that way, everything's up on the wall, and I can just kind of fix it as needed. All right, watch me struggle. Like I said, before we do much of anything, we're just going to get this here in the corner and see if I can fish it around and make it look the way I want it to. So basically I know it's approximately 40 inches, which that bend is too early. It's very difficult working in the corner. This stuff likes to bend when it doesn't want to. And then, there we go. All right. So this will go in this corner. I'll put all that up on there. And so I'm going to go ahead. They give you this little tool right here. And what it does, it allows you to basically kind of remount the, taper the ends of the tubing. You're supposed to go around 3 full times. I've found that you got to go around a few more than 3 times to cut the ends. And then once you're done with that, pull it off. And then you take the fitting apart with the ring. You put the compression cap over, and this is, once again, I'm having that trouble, same trouble that I've had with all but one of these that I've put on. And so I actually just take, probably the wrong thing to do, but the instructions just say slide it over. That's not possible. Once you get it on there a little ways, it does a pretty good job of sliding. Which, I mean, I guess you want tight tolerances for this stuff. Okay. Now we can take our compression ring, put on there. And now I think we can take our T-fitting here and assemble it all. the instructions specifically say to make sure that the tubing is up against the flange, which that one feels like it is. We'll go ahead and do this one. Okay, there's that. Going the wrong way again. It says you're supposed to tighten it at least 3/4 of a round after it contacts. Should be good. All right. So that means we can now bend this up into place and see if it fits. Should, based on all my measurements, just like that. And then I can start working on that line. All right, so got the entire system set up. All I want to do right now, I'll probably in the end change those to 90-degree fittings in the corners and right here instead of having the sweeping curve. I just don't really like the way that looks, but that's about the best I could do without 90-degree fittings. And then I'll also, that 90-degree fitting over there, I didn't want to shorten this too much. That way I don't waste any tubing. And so I'll have to change some of that over there. But right now I went ahead and turned the air compressor on and naturally vacated the premises because it's the first time it's come on in probably over a year. Pumped it up to a little over 150 PSI. I think this gauge is just a little bit off. I think it's probably closer to 160 or so, but I can't remember what the exact specs on this unit are. But what I've done is I've gone ahead and used the filter, the regulator, and I've got the regulator set at 60 PSI, and I've got this valve open. I tried it at 30 PSI to start with. I didn't show it on video. I pumped this up to 50 and then opened it up and brought it up to 30 PSI in the line. I think I've got a couple small leaks, but nothing detectable because I let it sit there for about 5 minutes and I think I lost a pound of air pressure. So I don't know if I'm going to do much better than that with as many fittings as I already have in this short line and the movement that this line's undergone. And so I don't even know where I would chase the, I don't know where I would even chase the leak to. So the only thing I did not do in the directions is it says we need a flexible line between the regulator and the compressor itself. Yes and no. I was looking for something that had a little bit of support because I didn't want to put this on the wall. I could have, but I just decided not to. That might be something I'll do in the future. So there's going to be some vibration in the line itself that'll probably cause some issues. But overall, my first impression, I really, I don't want to use any air because I want to see if it leaks down. I only just put 2 screws in this for right now because I may need to move it up the wall a little bit. You know, once I shorten everything up. So we'll have to see about that. Assembled this all with pipe dope. The things that they do not include is they do not include the openings on these are 1/2 inch, and I have a 3/8. I believe this is a 3/8 M style coupler on here. So you need to provide this bushing, and you also need to provide the air fitting. This would be a water drain of sorts or an air pressure drain if you need it. So I'm just going to let this sit there. I've got the compressor off, so it's not going to come on while I'm away, and that way I know how much it might leak down. I know the compressor itself is good. I pumped it up last year, and it took it almost 8 months to leak down to less than 100 psi. So, and then I let the rest of the air out. So that I know that the compressor is good. So overall, this kit seems pretty manageable. The line is not nearly as flexible as you would think it is. It's actually very stiff, which I think is a good thing in the end. They say no paste or Teflon tape required on fitting nuts. And so I'm assuming that everything else needs tape and or dope. So yeah, I think we'll see how it works. I'll do a review on it. If this works really well, we'll go ahead and extend it down the shop. We'll drop a line at the closing lathe, and then we'll just keep going back. And somehow or another, we'll get through that back wall. I just don't know how we're going to do that yet. And then ultimately, we'll take it to the back of the shop, and then we will figure out how to get it underneath the driveway through the conduit and out to the other building. But I don't exactly know the best route for that yet. But I think that concludes this little project. It took me about an hour and a half to do this, so not that long. All total with the regulator and the kit and some of the fittings and stuff, it was about the bill was $347. So is it worth it? I don't know. Time will tell. And it'll be nice to have air a little bit closer. Compressor had kind of hidden off in the corner, not taking up space. And now I got to figure out what I need to do with my old Craftsman compressor. So, got questions, comments? Leave them below. Thanks for watching.